Hello, PinBuilders, and welcome to update 3.9.1. We're so excited. We have so much cool stuff for you to play with now, and we're so happy to finally be delivering this. It has been over a month, and we've been busting our little behinds trying to get this all done for you, and today is the day. So, if you haven't already, before you go update your version of the game, please make sure you back up any of your save files or your user images or any of those folders. Just do a quick backup just in case, always a good idea. We're likely going to be doing updates larger and every 2 to 4 weeks for the foreseeable future, just so we can really get a lot done before each update comes out, rather than trying to do a bunch of small updates. So that's just something to keep in mind. All right. So, for all of those of you who are new to the program, you're going to find out some new information here, which I think you'll find very helpful. For those of you who have been here and playing the game with us for a while now, you may see some redundancy here, but I'm going to go over things pretty quickly. I'm going to try to keep the pace of this video very quickly because this video is designed to show you what's new and to give you an idea of how to do some things. So I'm going to blast through stuff really quickly. So here we go. First of all, for those of you who are new, if you're curious about where your files are located, you can click on Settings, and then you can look right here, and this will show you where all your files are located. And I will go through the file system later and show you how we've updated that and what's new there and how it's so much easier to organize your files and stuff now. And if you have suggestions on that or anything else, please do let us know in the comments below, because that would be very helpful. We always are welcome and open to your thoughts and ideas and stuff. So here you go. You can see user images, sounds, and screenshots are all located in these folders. And then your save games are located here. So let's just quickly go take a look at those folders right now so that you have an idea of what we're talking about. All right, so I want to talk about the file structure and what has changed slightly. So when you install PinBuilder, now it's going to create some different folders. In addition to the installation folder, it's going to install some stuff into your documents folder. So wherever your My Documents folder is located on your computer is where these files are going to get placed. As you can see, I have here mine are mapped to this folder called Win10 Documents. So I keep all those documents on a shared server, drive server. So that's where mine points to. And inside your Windows My Documents folder, you'll have a PinBuilder folder. And inside you'll see these top 4 folders added. You won't have this PinBuilder shortcut. I just put that there for myself so I can show you this within this window. So you may or may not see the documentation folder. If you do, it's probably going to be empty, so just don't worry about that for right now. We are working on the manual for this, and it's getting really dense with information, and we really need to just start over on a new manual. So we will be doing that soon, but for right now, since we've been so busy coding to give you some of this new stuff, we just are not going to include that right now. The first other folder that you'll see that's actually got something in it is table images, and this is where all the little screenshots go for your table images inside the game. These are not anything that you would need to ever touch, but if you wanted to, you could open one up and change it, and when you go back into the game, you would see the new updated photo until you save your playfield again, and then it'll get written over again. In our user images folder, this is where a lot has changed. Now we have all of this stuff, but what's going to happen in this folder is you're going to have bumpers, which contains bumper images, and you can place your own images in here for your bumpers if you want to have custom bumper textures. All you need to do for them to show up when you select a thumper bumper is to preface them with the word comp and underscore, and then it'll show those. The next folder is spinners, so we've put some spinners in here. We've added a few new ones. Now spinners have a special format to them, which you can see here. There is sp underscore for spinner. So if you want a file to be specific to spinners, just put sp underscore, and then the name of the spinner texture. And spinner textures come with a front and back. Usually, if you forget to add a back, then it'll just use the default. I think it's a star, I believe, or it might be this one. And what you want to do is make sure that the name has underscore back and underscore front. So as you see all these, it's SP underscore police back, SP police front, SPX back, SPX front. So all it's going to show you in the editor is the front one. So you pick that front one and both will show up. Now you can also do that with the table images location as well. So in the tables, this is now broken out so that we can separate all our tables from one another. And inside our new game, Unfathomable, we have this new spinner here. So it is SP Alien Meadow. Actually, that's right. That's for the Alien Meadow one. I forgot. But that's fine. It's in the wrong location, whatever. We're just going to leave it like that, and you can enjoy our mistake. Anyway, so you can see, like, that's the front, that's the back, and that SP underscore will show up no matter where in the user images folder that lives. So what this does is it recursively selects or checks all the folders when you're in a spinner and you want to select a spinner texture. All the SP files will show up no matter where they are underneath this user images folder. So they could be in this folder here with these, they could be in this one or that one or even this one. It doesn't matter, but this is just a simple way to keep things organized for you. The game doesn't care where they're located underneath the user images folder, so you can just drop them wherever. Now, there are some of these stock ones here that you may want to just leave where they are. We will move those around at some other time perhaps, but for now you may want to just leave those there. Keep in mind that any images you have in this main folder, if you move them into subfolders and everything, they should still get found no matter where, because it's all recursively checking in there now. So just something to keep in mind. Something else you'll see in here are these plan views. They all have a tag underscore plan. So whenever you're in the game and you press the O key to shoot an overhead picture of your playfield, which I'll show you elsewhere in this video, then those will land right here in user images. And then, of course, targets are in here, so we can see some of the basic targets that, you know, are used in the game standard. Same is true for user sounds. You can leave them all here in this main folder if you want, which is kind of crazy, but you can also put them within your own folders here. So that is just something that we wanted to share with you. Those things have been updated. Okay, so now let's jump over to the PinBuilder folder. And as you can see, this is my Steam library, Steam Apps Common PinBuilder. And inside are all these folders and files. So that's your main PinBuilder game right there. Inside here, if you click PinBuilder, Saved, and Save Games, this is where all your save games exist. And as you can see the dates on these and the times, you can see that's when they were installed onto the drive last. So I just reinstalled the game on this machine, and that's what I will see. So that's the install date of those. However, if you want to know when they were actually created and where these actually came from, go back to go back to this content folder and then click on levels. And inside here are all the folders that would be getting copied to your My Documents folder and the save games that would, well, folders and files, I should say, and the save games that would get copied down. So if you want to see the actual dates these were last updated, you can see them here. So right here is all the original copies of our games that have shipped with the game. So if you mess one up, you can always come back in here and get the newer, or, well, get our last copy of it. And it's all these here that will get copied over to the save folder. So this saved folder doesn't even exist when the game is first installed. It creates this saved folder. So just keep that in mind. That's where those are all coming from. And also inside this levels folder are the all the things that ship with the game. So these are all the items that ship with it. Okay, so that's it for the file stuff. And let's get back to the exciting stuff. Okay, we're back, and we're going to click back. And from this screen, if you hold your mouse over this and roll your scroll wheel, you can scroll through. Now, you may see some tables here that aren't in your copy. That's because we do have some test things like this, which I needed to show you some stuff. And you can click on one of these tables, and it will open up in whichever mode you've selected or whichever room you've last used. And if you want to hide any of these so that you don't have to look at them, I think you could probably hide the blank one and just say hide, and that won't show up on this list anymore. And if you want to see it again, if you're like, wow, I need to see that thing again, whatever it was, just click on this button here, show hide hidden tables, and there it is. It's just right there, and you can click unhide, and that will be back here. It'll reload all those images again. And as you can see, here it is, blankets back there. If you have a table that a friend has emailed you or something like that they've created, and they've sent it to you because we don't have our Steam Workshop up and running, then you can just put it in the Save Games folder, which is, again, right here, this one, the bottom one, and that'll be different on your machine. And you can just copy that save to there and any other parts of the save file structure that you need for that game. And then just type the name in here. So as you can see, there's one called Paratrooper, but you would just type Paratrooper. You don't need the .save. You don't need that. Just type the name of whatever the name of the file is. Without the .save. All right, and don't need to type the cab file or any of that, just the main file. So that's what this is for. If you want to start off with just a blank table like this, you can just click load blank, which is kind of why that's not even necessary. So let's just hide that, and when we want one, we can just click this. For settings, you've got these game options, display settings. Make sure you press apply display settings only for the display settings. But these other game-related settings, you don't need to click anything else. As soon as you click one of these, it saves it. Same with this stuff here. You do need to click it for your display stuff, though. And then we have a controls section. These, when you change them, they also save automatically, and there's nothing else you need to do. Just click on that, press the button you want, and it'll save it. All right, so let's go back here, and let's pick one of our new ones. Let's see, wait a minute. Actually, I'm going to go to the test one because there's some stuff I want to show you that is related to testing. All right, so there's a lot of new stuff in here. You're going to see some new things over here. We've reconfigured the color swatches, and we've improved them and fixed them substantially since the last time you saw the game or last time you updated it. We have these two panels, so these are little click panels, and that one shows the objects in the playfield. You can pick them, and you can name them. So if you want to pick that insert, wherever it may be, where is it? There it is. See, it's highlighted with that red arrow. Now we can click up here where it says insert, and we can say round white insert, and then hit enter, and it'll save it. So next time you look in here, it's got its own name. So that's one thing. You can name any of these, thumper 1 if you want to, and that's in the objects list. There it is, thumper 1. And thumper 2, or this other thumper, is that other one. So it'll select those for you. All right, that's what that's for. And then this one down here, this one is only for if you select an object with text. So let me show you how that works. So if you put a text object here, you'll see that this pops up. And that says, hello there, what is up? But this says, replace this text with your own. Well, don't worry. Just start typing. And there you go. And that's how you do that. And you can close that. And then you can move this. You can rotate that. You can even scale these around if you want to. So you can use this plain text for pretty much whatever you want. We will add different fonts to this, hopefully, in the future. Unreal Engine doesn't make that too easy, but we're working on that too. All right, so a new feature that we have added is these new plastics. Yay! So these look really good, don't they? I mean, that looks like a plastic, and it behaves like a plastic. You turn up the GI lighting, and it looks like a plastic. It's important to remember that these are non-collision plastics. So the ball will drop through there, and you could potentially get a ball trapped behind something and stuck behind a post or whatever. And if you do, just press the R key, and that'll reset the ball, and it'll put it back over into the trough over here. So that is one thing. And let's see, let me grab this bulb and go back over here. We've also improved the shadows of our lighting. And if I can, let's see, wait. No, I want this one there. So if I grab that and I move it around, you can see the shadows are working properly as you would expect. And if we move it away from the plastic dims slightly, and it'll brighten and dim with that bulb. So something to keep in mind. Up and down arrows change the brightness of your GI lighting. So any GI lights you have on the playfield will be affected by the up and down arrows. And then the left and right arrows control the room lighting. So for these guys, they're very simple. All you need to do is, we have added this new plastic ping based right here. So when you first click it, you'll get the default image. Now, if you load a game and you see a bunch of these default images, the reason why is because the game has moved too fast to load your images if they're on a shared drive or a slow drive. So just keep that in mind. Best to put all these files on a local SSD if you want super fast, but it's fine the way it is. Okay, so all you need to do is just reload that table and it should be fine. Just an FYI. It shouldn't really happen, but it could from time to time. Nothing's broken. Just don't save it with the wrong textures. So if you load the game and they're all like this one, this weird like image, don't save it or you'll have no images on any of your textures anymore. So very simple to add a texture to this. There are no variants, and you could add a filter if you want to filter out these. So let's say I only want to use Unfathomable. So I can put right here, if I click on that, I type Unfath, and then I click this, and you'll see that it has filtered that list. I could also put, I believe, tables, select it, tables, and I think just the tables, anything in tables will show up. So see, by adding these folder structures, you can really drill down into things better with the filter here. And we're going to grab, let's just grab this slingshot. And that's the one from our Fathom copy. And we can just rotate it, scale it, whatever we need to do, we can make it the right size. And then as long as you move it over lights and such, it'll appear as a plastic. It looks like a plastic. So there you go. That's how you do plastics. And then put it wherever you want, and you're good to go. Another thing that we've done is made a modification to our thumpers, and we've added a flash on hit option. So when we go into play mode, I'm going to not save that because I made changes. I'll press the C key to change my view. I'll press T to start a game. And we're not going to hear anything other than that mechanical sound because nothing is really built for this game. But I'm going to press the B key on the keyboard, and we'll spawn a ball above that thumper bumper. And you'll see what it does now with flash on hit checked. So as you can see, it just flashes when it's hit. So, all right, so that's what that does. So that's very easy to set. Just check it on or off right there, and you're good to go. Solenoid power multiplier, that is for how hard the thumper slams down and shoots the ball away. And that is about all we need to know about those. We've also done something else exciting and new that I think a lot of you real serious pinball players are going to love. Finally, we did this. We have added proper flipper flip mechanics to where if you just barely tap your button, the flipper will barely move. And you can adjust how much it moves by setting this flipper tuner here. So if I go to 0.25, which I think is a good setting, let's make this 5 for lots of power. And the bounce level is fine where it is. And we'll save this. So we'll zoom up here and we'll get real close. And we'll start a game so that we have flipper control. Now I'm gonna press it like normal, like I'm pressing a flipper button. And in the game it's shift. So the 2 flipper keys are shift, and then the Z and question mark keys are nudge, those directions, and then spacebar is nudge forward. Okay, just so you know. And if you're curious, press the H key to see these details over here. And on the left side over there by the 12 degrees and 90 degrees, you'll see there is a red meter. That's your tilt meter. And you can adjust how sensitive that is too, by the way, in settings. Let me show you that real quick. So if you go to settings and you select this tilt, lower makes it easier and it will take longer to tilt. And if you go to 0 all the way down, it won't tilt at all. And then if you go all the way up here to hard, it's going to tilt very easily. Okay, so now that we're in play mode, we're going to zoom back up here and we will start a game. And as soon as it's ready, we will drop a ball. And hopefully it will just rest itself right there. And I'm going to give the flipper a really quick tap. And I hit it and it shot out. I think maybe it's because it's right there. All right, so as you can see, you can hit it hard, or if you tap it really quickly, just right, it'll just hop. So you can see how I'm just hitting it hard, and then if I just tap it super quick, it'll just kind of barely move off. Now if it's on the tip of the flipper, it's gonna be a little bit harder to get it to go just the short bit that you want. But that's part of the skill, right? So there you go. So that's a new feature. Now there's another new feature that I'm going to show you while we're in play mode that I know you guys are going to love. And it's something that I myself have been excited to add to the game for some time. And we finally did it recently. So check this out. While you're in play mode, while the game is in play mode, which is where we are now, we're in the arcade and play mode, right? So what you want to do is you have to have a game. Well, you don't have to have a game started, but in order to check your logic, you need to have a game started. So let's see. Let me show you this in a better table than the test one. All right, so I'm just going to zoom up here. And you don't have to hide the glass or anything if you don't want to. That's the G key, by the way. G key is hide glass. H key is show your HUD. In order to test your logic, up until this update, you had to actually play the game that you built, the table that you built, right? That kind of sucks because it makes it really time consuming. Well, while you're in play mode, let's start a game. Do I have any credits on it? Yeah, okay. Let's start up a game, and now a game is going, and I'm just going to move up here where I can see these drop targets. I'm going to press the U key, and now I can see my cursor again, right? So check this out. I'm left-clicking on these targets, and voila! You can test anything that has a switch, except for some things like this kicker hole, but these work, these guys work, those work up there, though they're kind of hard to click, but you can test those guys. You can test thumper bumpers, they actually fire, and let's see, what else? Oh, the spinner, this is fun. Let's turn these lights down some. So if you just tap the spinner, You can spin it, but if you click right here in the middle, you can really kind of get it going. So you can test that. And we're working on adding this to the slingshots too and some other stuff. But for now, this is what we got going on. So there, that one. So anyways, that is one of our new features that we've added. Makes testing so much easier. So check that out. At some point, we may add an option to where you can grab the ball and just move it around and check things like that. Okay, when you're in play mode, you can hold down the right mouse button to look around, and then you can use the WASD keys to move around, and Q and E to move up and down like that. And wherever your camera is when you stop moving it is where it will be when you come back to the arcade. So if we leave the arcade now and we go to here, and we move this camera around, you'll see that it does the same thing. So I'll jump back to here, and you can see that's where it was. It's kind of confusing because I moved the cameras to the same spot pretty much. So I'll leave this one here now, and you'll see though that when we go back to the workshop, we are back where that workshop camera was. And now I'll tab back to the play mode, and tab is the key that you want to use to change back and forth from one mode to another. Okay, so I've loaded up the test one here again because I wanted to show you some things. We have fixed the color swatches and the colors of objects. So I'm going to just select the flipper here, and you'll see that its colors currently, and these are the default colors, are right here. It shows you what the current colors are. Now, if you want to add these colors to these two swatches here for use elsewhere, you can do that. So if I click that button, it just added it here, and I'm going to click this button, which adds it there. Now, if I select something else, it will, and then I press the C key, it adds those colors to that object that is selected. So that's what these are for, and that is how the C key works. It changes both colors, so keep that in mind. If you want to go back to the defaults for this particular object, whatever you have selected, you can do them one at a time. You can select this one to go back to the red, and you can select this one for the white rubber, and that will reset that. And of course, you can use these to go flip them over onto this flipper if you wanted to, and then you can also just set it back to its defaults if you want to. So that's something to keep in mind, how these work. And we've kind of moved them up, and hopefully you think too that they make more sense laid out like that. And all the objects that have plastic or a rubber band or whatever, they will change. So for this post, it's a little different. For example, since it has no primary color, it has a secondary color, which is always, rubber is always the secondary color. So you just change that with the secondary here. And then if you want, you could take that and apply that rubber color to just there. And now you've got green rubber. And eventually we do plan to add one overall change all rubber color and bounciness type of thing. But for now, everything is individualized. So if you want to change the rubber bounce on this stretchy post thing here, you can do that right here. Make it super bouncy or make it like not bouncy at all. So that was something that we did in a previous update. Okay, we have another new feature that is actually very much in the works. We have some work to do on it, but we did want to go ahead and make it available to you if you wanted to start messing around with it. You're going to notice some weird parallax issues with the exported file, but this is what it looks like. When you're in the workshop, all you need to do is press the O key, not the 0 key, but the O key on your keyboard. And it will switch to this overhead camera. And what that will do is it will export into this folder. And if we double click it and open it up, we get to see what that looks like. So that exports out a nice plan view for you. What it does is it will go ahead and show everything that you have placed on the playfield, and it gives a name and the date that it was printed. This also has a blueprint texture in the background, and we're going to make this real world scale and everything. So right now it needs some work. As you can tell, these are still yellow and they shouldn't be, but we have a little bit of work to do on that, and there's a little bit of parallax happening, but it'll give you an idea of what your playfield would look like if you wanted to use it for making an actual playfield. All right, so there's a few more things that I wanted to show you here before we move along and call it done for the day. And that is, we've updated the types of plastics that you can use. So first of all, we have the standard plastic texture material on these posts. And if you want to change that, you can go to the lit type. And if we take the brightness down, you can see that actually affects other objects around it with color and such. So you can do this and change your colors. And then there's also the classic Fins transparent version, and that's harder to see because it's dark right now, but if we bring up the lighting and give it another color, you can see that it actually has transparency and looks more like a plastic. In the next update of Unreal Engine, which is what we use to build our game here, we are going to have access to even better materials. So those are going to all these transparent plastics are going to look even better. So that is one of the things that is cool. We also have, I should say, it is cool, but it is new, I should say. On our flippers here, we have also the, of course, lit version. And in order to see that, well, let's just kind of dial that back down. We have now, that was here before, that was in a previous update. However, this time we did add the short lit to that. So you can use these shorties in a lit style. And eventually what we'd like to do is connect this illumination to be able to access that from logic controllers, so you could control what, when those are lit and stuff like that. So we think that might be kind of fun. And let's change that back to a standard transparent. And now what we have, these are the new style that we used on Unfathomable. And when you select this, you can, of course, change the color of the plastic. And you might find that this plastic is a little bit dark and such. However, one of the things that we are also going to see in our update to 5.3 is this plastic will look a lot more realistic as well. We also have a new lit texture for the spinners. So if we select a spinner and we go to classic lit, now that is illuminated as well. So you can see how those are illuminated. And then the decals, of course, block illumination. And if you would like to, you can change the color of that. And we think that having these available in the future as something you can access during gameplay and change would be very cool. So that is on our list of things to do. And while I'm right here with the spinners, I'm going to go ahead and change this back to the classic type. And I'm going to give some brightness, and I also am going to change that to white. And I want to show you the new decal option. So if you put in the spinners folder or wherever you want, you can put these SP underscore. As you see, this one, Unfathomable, has an SP Alien Meadow, which is this new one. And you can select any of these, and you can create your own and put them in there, and they will show up on the spinner when you want them on the spinner. You don't need to worry about making your images upside down for the back side. That automatically just inverts it for the back. So make both images right side up, however you want to see them. So this one, obviously, it looks like it's flashing a police car against the background, but be careful what colors you choose, because if I were to change this to black, by going down there. Obviously, you cannot see that image on the back side, but the front side looks pretty good. And let's see, if we take the light down, that still kind of stands out a little bit, which is kind of cool. It may not ought to do that, but it does for now. And there we go. So that is new also. Flippers, spinners, posts, spinner decals. We have something else new for you guys, and that is multiple gate sizes. So when you use these gates, these wire gates are really, really handy. The default is the 2 wide, as you can see right there. Anytime you create an object that has a number next to it here, that means that there are a few variants, or there are that many number of variants inside. So you can rotate this here, and we can put that there, for example. And if I save this and go to play mode, you'll see how that works. Let's get up here. We'll start a game. And now when I shoot the ball through that, it'll just kind of go down. I was wanting that to just go in there, so I could do that one more time. And I'm going to do it at a hard... There. So you see, that keeps it from going back down in there, obviously. I know you know what a gate is. I just wanted to show you why you would use that particular one. All right, now let's make another one, and I'll show you that we have 2 more options. So as you can see on our Unfathomable, there is this shorter version that is good for like a 1-lane wide gate, and these are good for straight. These are really good for straight gates. You know, straight rather than angled like this one. The 2 wide is great for angles, and then this one is good for just a single. And then you can also do, in the Unfathomable, you've seen maybe this really wide one. So now we've got all these different versions. And what's kind of fun about this is that you could put one of these in front of drop targets this way, and you couldn't hit them from this direction, but you could hit them from behind and the ball would just drop through. Or let's see, if we put one over here, and let's select the 2 wide, and this way a ball wouldn't be able to go through the spinner this direction, but it would be able to go through from the other direction. So you could make, in some kind of sense, you can make directional flippers. So I don't need to start a game to show this, but you can see how that... In fact, what we could do is put this pop bumper. Let's put this straight underneath that. And we'll put that right under there so it'll pop straight back up. And we'll give this a nice, powerful blast. And we'll watch this and see what it does. Now I have to start a game where that pop bumper won't work, but here we go. And it may have been hard to see because the light was so bright. But you can see how it won't pop back up into the... That's kind of cool. That's 10 is a powerful number for that. Anyway, so you can see there are different ways you could use these gates. You can just let your imagination run wild. You could flip that around, actually, so that the ball could go one direction. Oops, I didn't want to rotate it. So you could blast it from the flipper up through it that way, but then it wouldn't come back this way. Actually, for something like that, you might want to have it at an angle to feed it off so it doesn't get hung up right there, but you could just do it like this or something, perhaps. I don't know. Anyways, just thinking ideas, you know, thoughts and ideas for you guys. Okay, so there's another thing I want to show you while we're on the play field here, and that is the new insert type that we've added. This is per user request, and I think you guys will all love this one. So when you add an insert using this button, you get this default insert here, and it's usually round plane. Well, it's always round plane. And now we've added this new illumination only round. And so what that does is you can see there's no decal or image associated with this. And if you click off of it, you'll just have this grabber. And if we turn that on, you can see that all it's going to do is illuminate a spot. It's like a light on the playfield, but it's a light within the playfield, like an insert light. And what we can do is you can also set this for flash. So if you want it to flash, you can do that. Set it to 0 for no flash, and we have a very bright insert color here. And so you can get it very bright. Now, if you make it extremely bright, it's going to start affecting other things in the area because they're picking up some of its luminance. And that is going to be perhaps something that you might want to do. You could even set one of these underneath something and light it up. And note that you can also scale these. If I can grab onto it, we can scale them. There we go. You can scale them down to a smaller size, and then you can scale them up pretty big. So there you go. And insert brightness, you can, if you want to make it a really small, just a basic light, you can take that brightness way, way, way down. And then you have just a nice little light that doesn't do much in terms of affecting things around it, but just illuminates the playfield inserts. For example, let's just see where we've used these in Unfathomable. So as you can see, all of the lights in the center here, all of these around here and this one, those are all using that new technique. In fact, all of them are, except for the arrows. The arrows are actually the other types that we have already had, and you can see how that looks. And they look very nice. We should probably scale these down slightly. And they still look good, though. They still look really nice. We don't have a global brightness adjuster for all of the inserts, so currently you would have to do that one at a time. But we'll look into setting up a global adjustment if you guys think that's something that you might need. Okay, now there's one last thing I wanted to show you, and that is to do with the sound auditioning. So let's go to over here. I'm just going to move over here so we can get a different view. And I am going to go press the number 2 key to go to cabinet editor mode. And down here you'll see we have all these sounds. A background sound plays during the game. Game start sound plays at the beginning of the game, etc., etc. So these are all sounds that you can add to make your game unique or exciting or different or realistic or whatever you're after. So one of the new things we added, though, was prior to this update, if you clicked this, a new instance of the sound would play every time. But now, when you click it again, you see that I just clicked it again and it stopped it. And that's true for all of these.
Congratulations.
So you can see that those all will stop now. So they'll play one time.
Congratulations.
So that you can audition the sound, and then you can stop it if it's long like that. Now, if the background sound is playing and you press this one, it'll stop that sound too. So then you need to press it.
Congratulations.
Then you need to press it again. So any of these will play or stop. They'll play. All of these will play the one that it's next to, but all of them will stop whatever one is currently playing. Now we have that same option on logic editing. So if I select a logic controller down here, which I just picked that center drop targets one, now you see that there are a target sound effect and a completion sound effect. So if this is a drop target bank and you want to make it so that they make a sound and score points and all that, you need to hook up a logic controller to them. And you gotta set it as drop target bank. Completion type doesn't really matter in this case. We will be adding a sequential type so that they have to be knocked down in sequential, but we're not. We are working on that now, but we were unable to finish that one before this update rolls out tonight. But the way this works is very simple. You just tell this, you grab that and you hold down left shift and you click these, and it will add them. And then that will make these blue arrow lines. And then you need to select each drop target in that group and tell it which controller they are using, and that way they will send a signal to it, and then it'll check to see if they're all down. So that's how that works. But point value happens when they get knocked down, and then the when lit value in this instance happens when they are all knocked down or complete. We should change that to completion value or completion points or something like that. But that's how that works. And then the target sound effect plays when a target drops, and then the completion sound effect obviously plays when they are all dropped. So something to keep in mind. Also, what I was originally going to show you was that the same is true here. If you press one of those, you can stop it if you press it a second time. And if you press this one, you can stop it with that one.
Accomplished.
So that way you can not have overlapping audio there. Audio should overlap during gameplay though, however. And I know some people like it when it doesn't, but in our game we like it when it does, and that's how we're going to leave it for now. Unless maybe if enough people don't like that, then we might change that, but to be more like old school audio where all the sounds would cut all the other sounds out. This is 2023, so our game is really designed for building whatever you want to build, and it's not necessarily for recreating existing games. Obviously, you can do that, though, and we want you to do that if that's what you want to use this for, because we know a lot of you guys want to use this with VR cabinets, and we are working on that as well. So main focus right now, again, is just making sure that everything looks and works the way we want it to, and then after that, we will start focusing our attention more on other things like the Steam Workshop, which is very important to us, and the game, and you guys, I think, and then other stuff. So anyway, that is the update 3.9.1, and we're so excited to hear about your thoughts on it. Remember, if you have any weird stuff happening when you go to run the game after installing it, if you already have it installed, please just back up all your files first before you run the installer, and then, you don't run the installer, but before you fire up Steam tomorrow, or today, as the case may be, or yesterday, no, I don't know. Anyways, just keep in mind that you might see something wonky, but you shouldn't. Anyways, we really hope you enjoyed this update and have fun pin building, and we will see you very soon.